We are back on the morning show. We got Steve Strazza in the house. I am JC Parets, and we got David Rath here in the house. CMT CFA, David Rath, partner and chief investment officer at Continuum Wealth Advisors. Nice to have some perspective on somebody who appreciates the fundamentals in addition to those who appreciate the technicals. Because you know, we stand around here. We got things moving. We got rotation happening within the cryptocurrency space, potential rotation into energy. How long has that been? So we got a lot to talk about. We got Fonz behind the scenes, Mr. Chart Master Flex. We got Izzy on the ones and twos. Hit it, baby. Let's go. All right. We are back, my friend. We are back.
Hello.
Oh, man. Where do we even begin on a day like today? Where do we start, sir?
Why? What? What is it? What's on your mind? Oh, shout out Florida man.
Who's the Florida man? Oh, Gainesville? Oh, that's gross. Oh,
Where my Florida mans?
dude, Gainesville, Florida. Ouch.
You know, I think you're such a hater because you miss it. You miss being here.
First of all, nobody misses Gainesville, Florida. First of all. Second of all, I left Florida. I was a Florida man until the age of 18. And I wouldn't even call myself a Florida man. I lived in Miami. You can say that's not even part of America. Like, I did not live in Florida. I lived in Miami. My Florida geography is terrible. I don't know where anything is. You know why? Because we don't go up there. When I grew up, we went down. We went down to the Keys. We didn't go to Boca or like where do these people go? Jupiter. I don't even know where these places
Orlando.
are.
You go to Orlando.
Yeah. We would go to Orlando, go to Disney. We'd go to the West Coast. You know, my parents would take me to Naples when I was a kid. We'd go to Marco when I got to high school, and we'd take road trips with like our girlfriends and stuff like that. And like that was the extent of my Florida experience. Tallahassee, terrible place. I went to these places for football games. You know, it's the only time I would ever go. I'd go to the party, you know?
Did you travel for baseball growing up?
Yeah.
Like you'd have to go up to some of those towns?
In fact, we had a triple header in Gainesville, and we won the championship, some tournament in Gainesville, as a matter of fact, when I was a kid. I was too young to realize how shitty it is there. We had a great time because we were like, I don't know, like 9, 10 years old, something like
that. The other parts of Florida are good at plenty of other sports, but like, could anybody compete with Miami in baseball?
Honestly, yeah. I'm getting word, you know, because I get, you know, I have the inside scoop on Miami youth baseball. I got to tell you, my understanding is that like in Georgia and the Carolinas, like they're putting out way better players than they are in South Florida. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
I know. And this is like a Miami true Florida man telling me these things. So actually very impressive. So shout out to Georgia. Gainesville is basically part of Georgia. Shout out to Georgia. Shout out to North Carolina, putting out great balls, my understanding. So keep up the good work. Keep up the good work.
JC,
talk to me.
Did you see the news? Did you see the big news this morning?
I'm not a news watcher, but you're welcome to fill me in. What did I miss?
Dick's Sporting Goods and Golf Galaxy join Uber Eats for on-demand delivery. Uber.
Long Dick's wins again? Is that what you're telling me?
I think it's more about Uber because they could do this with anybody. They're going into retail with the Uber Eats. It's basically just going to be Uber delivery, right, in the future. But same-day golf balls? I mean, right here. Here's the. Have you ever, from last-minute yoga mats to hiking gear, have you ever needed last-minute hiking gear? Just imagine the possibilities.
I have not.
Golf balls, golf bowls.
I don't need golf balls last minute. I don't need hiking gear last minute, but I know people like Sean could need some hiking gear last minute potentially. You could definitely use some golf balls last minute because I know you hit the water a lot. You're going through balls like
emergency bowls. I'll be ordering them from the course. But
I just want to I just want to be able to say long dicks wins again without getting canceled, right? Like
Well,
if we could talk about long dicks, and everything's cool. So until we
talk
can
about
do
what it's
that,
for.
I'm not interested. And right now, long dicks isn't working so well. So I'm
Well,
more interested in when long dicks is working.
you can't have the dicks top out here. But this is more about the power of the Uber platform, right? I think this is the best ecosystem play going in the entire market. I mean, the power of this company and the things that they could do, they could take different shots all day, try to enter different markets. They have all of us in our pockets.
I did my homework the other day. I did my homework the other day. Remember, I told you guys that I never use Uber Eats. I use like the other ones, but I'm going to start using Uber Eats just to kind of like see what's going on. And
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it was a lovely experience. Expensive though. I don't know if it's more expensive than the others. I found it a little bit expensive.
No, it's a
No,
luxury good. Yeah. No,
Uber Eats over the other ones is luxury.
no, they all are. You're paying a huge convenience premium with these services.
Throw up. Oh, there we go. We got slide 2 in there. Throw that up, and then we'll get into state of the markets. Just to throw this. This is really interesting right here. The relative strength certainly stands out. You're getting exposure to software, you're getting exposure to transportation and logistics, you're getting exposure to the consumer. You're getting a lot of exposure here. By the way, transportation hitting new multi-year highs in short interest. So this is really interesting as well.
You're going to be able to schedule your helicopter rides on Uber in the future. I'll say we ordered Domino's on the Uber Eats recently, 15 minutes. They run
That's disgusting. How do you
no, listen to me.
first of
Listen,
all,
there's no pizza.
how do you
No,
eat
it's not the
Domino's
point.
pizza and then
No,
tell people about it? Oh,
Rose likes it. There's no pizza down here. Okay, so it is an option. It's
oh.
terrible. It's not easy. I know. Listen, 15 minutes on the Uber Eats app. They run a tight ship. They're not playing. That guy's sitting in the parking lot for more than 5 minutes. I'm smashing that button. Keep it moving. Okay. Then we ordered Domino's on the Domino's app. Hour. Guys driving all around town. I don't know what's going on. They're good at what they do. That's my point.
Long Uber and man crush on the CEO. Do I have that right?
Big time.
Big
Yeah.
time. All right. All right. Let's get into a little state of the markets. Let's talk about what's happening this morning. Lots moving. Lots moving. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got the Dow futures down slightly under 200 points this morning, 42,700 for the Dow. S&P 500 futures down 30 bips. That's 18 handles to the downside, 6,011. You got the NASDAQ 100 futures down about 20 bips, 50 handles to the downside, 21,840 for the NASDAQ 100 futures. 30-year bond futures up again. I'm long. This works for me. 0.2% to the upside, back above 114 for the 30-year bond futures. Crude oil getting hit this morning, down 1.5%, 67 for crude oil futures. Copper flat at 482. Gold up 2%. Big move today, 3,400 for gold. Silver flat, meanwhile, 36.30 for silver with the VIX still at 18. Making serious moves to VIX. The VIX is just not not coming down. Fascinating. Over in funny money land, we've got the Bitcoin making lots of moves this week. Bitcoin actually down 1,300 points this morning, 107,350 for the BTC. You got Ethereum 2,750 down 1% on the day. You got the old Solana 160 down 1% on the day. Total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, if you're out there listening in Daddy Land, total crypto market cap 3.3 trillion, 3.33 trillion. What stands out from this morning's futures, sir?
Well, you're right about the VIX, but makes sense because you're getting a little weakness here this morning in major averages. I think Bitcoin pulling back a little bit is a nothing burger. I think this action in crypto is just fine, and this dip probably gets bought just like all the others off of the April lows.
You want to
Probably
see
really quickly too.
You want to see an awesome chart?
Yeah.
Throw up slide 2, please.
And I'll tell you what stands out really this morning is bonds. You're getting a little bit of movement here in the bonds again.
Mr. The Bond King, Steve Strazza, talking about bonds every day. Before we get into the bonds, I think this is a fantastic chart.
Yeah.
If I do say so myself, what do you think? On a scale of 1 to 10, is this like a 12? Come on.
So you're asking the question, will Bitcoin never be so dominant again?
No. I'm asking the question on a scale of 1 to 10. Is this not a 12 of a chart? Come on. No? No love?
No, this is great. It's great. It tells the story of this cycle. Bitcoin has completely dominated. There was a moment, God, it feels like years ago now, where Solana was the leader of the cycle. That ended, and it ended a long time ago. And Bitcoin, frankly, has been outperforming the vast majority of crypto equities and Bitcoin linked equities, which it shouldn't, frankly, right? In a real sustained crypto bull market where the animal spirits are out here, right? And you're seeing, really bullish risk appetite. The miners are levered to the price of Bitcoin. They should be outperforming the shit out of Bitcoin, but you're not getting that, at least not yet.
All right. So a couple fun facts here.
Mhm.
This is Bitcoin dominance. So this is the percentage that Bitcoin's market capitalization represents of the total crypto market cap. So total
What
crypto
was the
market cap.
all-time high?
I'm sorry,
What's the record high in this?
100 because it was the only one. Duh.
Yeah, yeah, but like over the last 10 years.
I mean, every cycle it gets lower and lower, but let's be
Yeah.
serious. It started at 100, and we'll never get back to that again, right? So if you really want to get down to it, let's see here. So this was at 100. This was at 100 throughout 2014, 2016, basically like 95, 96. And then things really started falling apart when Ethereum got going in 2017. So Ethereum got going in 2017. And then Bitcoin dominance completely collapsed, got down to 35%, believe it or not, from 100. So it was basically 95 to 100 until 2017. And then by the beginning of 2018 was down to 35. Then that bounced back into the 70s. And then in the beginning of 21, that collapsed once again, got back down into the 30s, and then bounced into the mid 60s. And I'm thinking that we'll never see Bitcoin dominance higher ever again. I said that in New Orleans about a month ago. And then I said it with confidence. And since then I've been thinking about it. I'm like, do I really believe that? Do I really believe that Bitcoin dominance will never be higher again? Or is that just, me being obnoxious? Because I can be sometimes, as you're well aware. And I've been really thinking about that a lot. And I got to tell you, I think that was it. I really do. And I got to tell you, this is, in my estimation, probably the last cycle ever that the Ethereum is going to be the dominant cryptocurrency that is going to eat into this dominance, right? I think in future cycles, there'll be others. Because right now, another fun fact on this chart, Ethereum at over 300 billion is worth more than the next three combined, Ripple, Binance, and Solana. You add up
Yeah.
all those three, they don't equal the value of Ethereum. So I think that that's a big one. And I think
Yeah.
this is the last cycle where Ethereum will be such a dominant player on the altcoins. What do you think about that?
I I agree with you on the dominance, I think. And I don't know. I'm open-minded with Ethereum because if we go back to Crazy Town, that's Ethereum's game. If people start buying shit in metaverses again and we start hearing about NFTs nonstop, that's Ethereum's kind of market.
Am I catching
So,
strays? Am I catching strays?
what do you mean?
Am I getting hated on for buying real estate in the metaverse?
No, no,
Hating a
but
little
I'm
bit.
saying if we go back to a place like 2020, 2021, I think Ethereum has its moment again. So I don't know. But I do totally agree with you. This group of altcoins, of big altcoins, has some catching up to do in the future.
Let's talk. Can we talk energy, please? If you throw slide 5 there,
That's
crude oil getting
yeah.
hit 1.5% to the downside today, but this
Come
is
on, come on,
crude
come on,
oil
come on.
still hanging out at 67. That's not nothing.
Hanging out.
Um,
Stop. This is crude oil had its best day in 2 months yesterday on the heels of a little geopolitics. If you drop a VWAP on the crude oil chart from the year to date high, blasted through, this is a little retest now from above. This is a scoop and score. This is a perfect chart. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. We've been talking about it, right? Big intermarket thesis here was simply crude oil is probably not going lower. This is probably not going to be a top. Look at what else is going on with commodities. Look what's going on with commodity stocks. Look what's going on with commodity markets globally, commodity currencies, commodity countries, energy centric countries. Canada, it's all working. Crude oil is probably not completing a top. And I think this is the level. If you wanted to get involved, if you wanted to trade this, as a failed top, JC, this is it. This is exactly where you do it.
You know, Strazza, with gold doing what it's doing, breaking out to new all-time highs, secular bull market there in gold, copper
Right.
right there, you know, making moves, looking to make new all-time highs, break through that 5 level. I mean, history has told us time and time again that the next one to go is energy, right?
Mhm.
We haven't seen it yet. Are we starting to see it with historic short exposure in oil and gas exploration and production, historic short exposure to oil and gas services? Um, seems ripe. Seems ripe. What do you think? I'm being told Caleb Franzen was mocking the oil chart. Is that so?
I didn't
We
see
got to
that.
get Caleb Franzen here. See what all the funny is about, right? What are we laughing at here? Is this funny? How am I funny? Huh? How am I funny? Am I am I here to amuse you?
It's also just a risk asset at the end of the day, too, right?
Yeah, but
Investors.
like a weird risk asset. Just because risk assets are doing well doesn't mean this is going to do well, and just
Yeah,
because
but
risk assets are doing poorly doesn't mean this is going to do poorly.
no, but this is that pro-cyclical situation. This is that like good economy feels. Crude
Yeah,
oil fits into
I don't know
that.
about all that.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Uh,
This is a pro-cyclical commodity. It moves with the business cycle. The economies are good out here, all around the world. All
yeah,
around good
yeah,
economies.
yeah. I don't think so.
Good economies.
I don't
Higher
think
prices for crude oil.
I don't think crude oil gives a shit about your economy.
I think it does.
I don't
Also,
think it
what's it
does.
mean for inflation? Inflation
It,
expectations haven't really been buying the move in gasoline, but I think they
it is
will.
inflation. It is inflation.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Can we throw up this Equinor? Gets no love. I want to give a big shout out to the Big L, the original Big L, Leonardo Fibonacci. Here you got your Equinor. This is the Exxon Mobil of Norway.
That's great.
Uh, shout out Oslo.
You know,
Here we got the 61.8% retracement of the entire rally from 2020 to 2022. Came back down to those levels, kissed it, and is now hooking higher. Do you think that that's a coincidence, Mr. Strazza?
no, not at all. This is a great level. If you wanted to get involved, you could probably drop a VWAP from those 22 highs. It's going to come in somewhere around here. You could probably use it for confirmation. I like just in general the playbook of there's a lot of energy companies, JC. And when you look overseas, right, and try to dabble in international equity markets, you don't have the options that we're used to here in the United States. But what you do have is energy companies, banks, typically telecoms, big staple or two, right? So you do have some representation from certain sectors, and energy always has like some monster company in other countries. They usually pay monster dividends. You can get really high beta with it, right? And go to like a Petrobras and do that. It's got like a 15% yield right now. Or you could do something safer and higher quality like a Canadian Natural, right? CNQ. But every country around the world, if you wanted to express a bullish thesis on another country or another currency, you could do it through some of these really big energy companies. And I think that's a great way to go about it, especially in this environment where we're seeing international take the lead.
I got a couple of charts. Throw up the new slides 3 and on, which is I want to flow through these quickly. We'll bring in David Rath in the house. Very curious to hear his thoughts. You know, there's that 161.8% extension coming in right around 560 on the S&P 500 ETF SPY. Looks like a little gap and go. And perhaps I would say maybe that's just a coincidence and not actually a gap and go. If it wasn't for the next chart, throw up the Qs. Here's your QQQ. There's your gap and go. So you
Hmm.
got a gap and go potentially at a very key Fibonacci extension level in both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. Mr. Strazza, do you think that these are potential gap and goes here,
That's
especially
a Monday
considering where
gap
it's
too.
happening?
Monday gaps are powerful gaps.
Right, it's a great point that Strazza is making, guys. These are weekly gaps, so these are Monday gaps. Like these weekly gaps, particularly like in indexes and stuff like that. This doesn't happen very often. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. I got 3 more. So here are the financials, getting back above that key Fibonacci extension level. Notice how the Dow, S&P, and the Nasdaq all retested those prior cycle highs from late 21, early 22. Financials did not. Financials put in higher lows. We call that relative strength around here. And the way I grew up, Strazza, I didn't grow up in Greenwich, Connecticut like you did. I grew up elsewhere, but where I grew up, we don't have bull markets without financials. That's how I grew up.
Look at the whipsaw on what looked to be a top. Bang.
Bang. Bang. Boo, 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 boo.
Really nice.
All right, now here's the best one. Ready? Here's the best one. This is consumer discretionary, right? So here's your 261.8% extension of that entire COVID decline. Got right to it, sold off, got right back to it, failed breakout. Now, if we start holding above that 215, 216 level, Steve Strazza, you're looking at 40% upside there in consumer discretionary. Think about the implications there for names like Amazon, names like Tesla, Home Depot, retailers in general, home construction, lot going on. All of the other sectors, the offensive ones anyway, financials, industrials, communications, technology, all above the prior cycle highs. Consumer discretionary, working on doing just that. Man, tell me that this won't be a monster for this bull market. Wouldn't a breakout here in consumer discretionary confirm everything else we're seeing out there?
Yeah, and you want to see it on relative terms too. If you look at the equal weight ratio, it's been trending in the right direction. Do want to see new all-time highs, but it's more of a large cap problem for discretionary.
And let's do one more. The last one there. This was for you, Strazza. How's this look right here? How's this look?
Yeah, I think it's going. I think be patient at this level. I think we'll know this weekend.
How do we know? What do you think?
It's sitting right on the VWAP right now, right? So reclaim that VWAP from its all-time high, hung out for a day or two, and now it's retesting it right now. So this is a monster level, 107. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
All right.
Below there, yes, risk back in the box, messy for longer. But if it digs in and holds right here this morning, we could be off to the races by this afternoon.
All right, we got David Rath in the house, but let's bring in Kenny quickly before we bring in David and see what's moving this morning. Bring on Kenny.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they took it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Kenny Glick in the house. How are you, sir?
All right, what's going on, man?
Nothing. In beautiful New Jersey. Underrated state, New Jersey.
Sometimes.
Listen, underrated. The parts around New York City suck. The parts around Philly suck, like terrible. But outside of that, great state. Down here in Avalon, down at the beach, it is lovely. Good eating.
Yeah, we got some decent areas. Yeah, it depends on where you're driving through, also.
I mean, dude, that northern Jersey, all that up there is beautiful. Over on the west, where you got all those farms and like horse country and stuff like that, is sick. Down here at the beach is awesome. I don't know, man.
Sure.
Shout out New Jersey.
Yeah, Cold Snack. That's where I'm at. It's nice.
Gets hate. So much hate on New Jersey.
Because of that TV show.
I think they were hating before that TV show.
Yeah, I guess. Right? Yeah.
The Jersey Shore gets a lot of hate because of that TV show, but here's a word of advice: do not go to the places where they film that TV show. Right, you see,
yeah,
don't go there. That's a terrible, terrible place. All right, so Kenny Glick, what is on the move this morning, my friend?
Before we get started, let me just say one thing: don't smoke crack. You ever see that? When you ever see Bobby Boucher when Lawrence Taylor comes on? He's trying to explain him with the ball. So right now, this market is basically one thing. Don't short stocks. It doesn't work, my friends. It's never going to work again. I think the new down year will be up 20%. Because if you came in this morning and you saw it's so cute when it's little red on the screen, right? And
it's adorable.
And then economic data is about to hit as if it's going to make the market worse. Ooh, the dreaded whatever it is, CPI, beige book. Doesn't matter. As soon as it's over, oh, good. Now we can resume our course back up. So we already got a faux show, bro, in the Qs, the one that we back tested with NOS for the last since 07. It comes in around 85% of the time it works. It's working again already. So right now, long the Qs against my will. And I'm looking to short Oracle. My son came in. He's like, all right, so Oracle's the play today, right, Dad? We're going to play the fade. We're going to short the stock because it's gapped up. I'm like, wait a second. We might not want to do that right now because the market just doesn't want to go down. Nothing's even fading. So I am looking at Oracle for a possible fade, but again, it's a very difficult market to want to play that trade right now. I'd rather be trading those Git labs like yesterday, gap down stock. It's a bull market. Everybody's looking to buy every dip. That was a really nice trade. So I'm in kind of limbo right now. We're long the Qs right this second. And if it comes through this little range that we're battling through right now, chances are we're going green and we're just going to resume the course right back up and get right back into the names that we've been trading. Strazza with the ASTS, loving this name, great action. NVTS, chip stocks that we've been playing has been awesome. The dips are being bought, the rips are being sold. If you want some action, NVTS, my friends, liquidity, cheap options, everything about that stock's phenomenal to trade. And that's where my head's at right now. So it's very difficult to want to short. We had one opportunity yesterday. It's just a tough market. And again, when there's no shorting, I start to get a little on edge. So, again, because I see the reason I want to short. I know what I'm looking at here. I know what I'm doing. It's just virtually impossible to short anything and make any money. So, again, you take a couple of trades and then just buy the Qs and sit back and watch them go back up.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Kenny Glick. You talk a lot about these speculative growth stocks all the time, things that are moving. I get it. You're a day trader. Do you ever find yourself buying oil and gas stocks or no?
All the what stocks?
Exactly. Oil and gas.
I like Cliff. Well, I like the Cliffy, but that's kind of a little bit of offshoot. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Halliburton. But it's not. It hasn't gotten under 20. I'm going to be a Halliburton buyer again. Yeah. And
these are names. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kenny. You're looking for the stocks that are making the biggest moves every day, and oil and gas stocks just don't have that kind of beta, or at least they haven't in quite some time.
Right. Yeah. Lately we've been looking at stocks. Well, those pre-market names like No Media. Did you see this one? KMW, and then there was KNW or K. I can't even get the symbols right anymore because there's always like 2 or 3 of them. But $3 stock. Yeah, this was a fun one. Let me see. It was KMW. Yes, K-Wave Media, right? No idea what it is. Chinese out of Delaware, I'm sure, right? But when the stock gets into play, and we get our little faux show bro action, this stock ripped for us the other day. It was an entry around $5. It went to $9. So I mean, that's where I love. But you want to talk investing? SRAD. That's the stock that I own. Stock has been doing nothing for a month. But when I say nothing, it's up 10%. And in this market being up 10%,
that's like being down.
Yeah, exactly. So no I mean, the action, the pre-market has been phenomenal. And Noss was actually, speaking of Noss, he was showing some statistics. Pre-market trading is booming, right? Because there's so much action now pre-market, and there's more liquidity pre-market than the aftermarket. But you still got to be careful. A lot of these are still pump and dump weird stocks that once they roll over, they don't come back. So you got to make sure you know what you're doing there. But
all right, Kenny, give me one more name this morning that's on the move.
Well, I guess I'll go with the one that I'm watching because the symbol was SOAR. How do you not like that, right? SOAR and KLTO for you pharmaceutical players. There's always a pharmaceutical stock. But SOAR, why not buy a stock with that symbol, right?
So 50%?
It already had its pop. Now it's under the VWAP. This could be the foe in the show. So I'd rather be looking at it, above 360, and then you're looking for that 420 move. But anything under $3, this thing's probably going right back to zero. So be careful.
All I heard is that you're looking for that 420 move. That's all I heard there. So that's good enough for me, Mr. Kenny Glick. I appreciate you, my man.
Thank you, man. I'll see you soon.
Kenny Glick, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, the grandfather of day trading, and all kinds of other silly names. We'll let him fill us in on those next time he's on. We are incredibly fortunate to have Mr. David Rath in the house. Get him out. Get him out. Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Hey, David, what's up, my man?
Hey, how's it going?
No complaints. No complaints.
You're almost up in my neck of the woods.
Where are you?
Saratoga Springs.
Oh, you're up in Saratoga Springs. Oh, that's cool. That was
Yeah.
the last place I went before I moved to California. A bunch of my buddies went up there. It was like August. It was like early August for the races.
Yeah, we
Right?
just had the Belmont last weekend, and then track season will open up in July. So it's starting to pop off around here.
Dude, nice. You ever hook up with Todd Gordon? Todd Gordon's up there.
No, I know he's a Saratoga guy, but I've never run into him up here.
Dude, I should put you guys in touch. He's got like a distillery. He's making booze. You
Okay.
should definitely hook up.
Yeah, in that case, yeah.
Well, in that case, I didn't know about all that. So yeah, I love it up there. I don't make it up there enough. I've been coming down instead of going up, right? So I got to make it up there. That's on me. That's on me. All right, David, talk to me about the current market. You know, in my estimation, we're coming off some historic levels of pessimism from a couple of months back, and that leads me to believe that this leg higher probably has some sustainability. Looking for that rotation, sector rotation, the lifeblood of a bull market, looking for some of that. And that's kind of where my head is at in general. You want to pick that apart, or are you kind of in my same camp? What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same camp as you. No matter, I mean, not no matter. You can always look for reasons to be pessimistic, and there are people who sell newsletters based off of that type of stuff. But you can look across the broad swath of charts, and a lot of things are in the upper right-hand corner. A lot of risk indicators. You're looking at the sectors that are leading right now, and those are all offensive sectors. And so I think that the ball is in the Bulls' court right now, and we just have to push through some key levels here, break out to all-time highs in the S&P, NASDAQ, Bitcoin. All of those risk indicators, I think, would just be a setup for future growth.
And so you think it's the offensive sectors that are leading? What do you make of the strength that we've seen in utilities and staples and things like that? You don't think that that's defensive in any way?
Staples had its time in the sun for a little bit, and then it's kind of fallen off. If we're looking at like an RRG chart, like now it's in that yellow quadrant. Utilities is interesting because typically it's a risk off indicator, but we also have now, it's almost like a quasi semiconductor trade because of or an AI trade because of the some of the newer utilities that are providing energy for those AI companies.
I saw you brought in a couple of charts here. Talk to me about what you want to start with.
So small caps is a good spot if we're talking about things that we want to see just join the party.
Here, let's throw that one up. You guys have that in the chat, or you want me to put it up? Let's see. All right, so we got the small caps.
Well, either way, I shared it with you yesterday, but it's still below. It got rejected at the 200-day moving average if we're looking at something like an IWM. And
yeah, here it is. Here's slide 2. Go ahead, guys. All right, so we're looking at the 200-day moving average here.
Yeah, and you'll see that's close enough for government work on the way up with providing some support, and then once that flipped, now we're looking at just blasting through that. We got above that horizontal line of resistance at around 208, 210, and now we just want to see some follow through there. The more stocks that are joining the party, I think that the better off that we're going to be, and the higher that the chances are that we continue higher.
My friend Ari Wald, head of technical analysis, managing director at Oppenheimer, likes to use small caps as that second index for Dow theory, type analysis, where when the S&Ps and large caps are making new highs, you want to see small caps too. For me, as much as I love Ari Wald, for me, he's one of the best in the business. I don't necessarily know that I agree with that. I think he's putting small caps in a little bit too much of a pedestal, I think. And then for me to disagree with Ari Wald, I mean, that's really saying a lot. I think he's like really, really, pressing the importance of small caps more than I would. Where do you fit in that camp? Are you with Ari that this is a really big one, or are you with me, which is more like, what do you think?
So if you're looking at just like the index that everybody tracks, which is the S&P, I know you're a big Dow guy, but if you're looking at the S&P, the small caps aren't going to matter to the performance just because of the market cap weight. So it's nice just to see like a broadening of risk appetite, I would say, but it's not essential to the movement of like a major index higher, because again, those are all going to be based on the big names.
And what about all the money in private equity that has bought all of these small caps. Like you got more money in small cap private equity than you do in the Russell 2000, right? So like,
That's a great
and
point.
aren't they buying the best ones? And then the ones that they don't buy, they graduate from the small cap. So they're always graduating, and their best players are always leaving, right? So right. That's how I look at it.
And you're looking at also in the like specific to the Russell, you're watching the amount of unprofitable companies continue to increase in the Russell. I think it's up to like 44% or something like that. So it is like that junk aspect of the index, which like to your point, it doesn't really matter too much that they participate. It's just more from a sign of risk appetite. It would be nice to see them join the party, but it's not essential.
I'm with you. I'm with you. We got to get Ari back because Ari likes to give me shit, when I disagree with him. Which I bring it on. Bring it on, Ari. If you're out there listening, come on in and tell me we're wrong. But I'm with you, David. Talk to me about this rotation internationally. We're getting massive outperformance in international equities over the United States. In fact, the dispersion in returns between the U.S. and international equities in the first quarter was the most ever. Right. So the biggest difference in the returns between US and international in Q1, highest ever, depending on how you calculate it. That's really interesting. I love the chart that you brought here where, it's not US versus international, but it's international versus international. And you're looking at emerging markets and you're comparing them with developed markets. I'm thinking emerging is going to make its move, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's kind of ironic too, if you're looking at like the Trump trade and like EEM is, I think, like 40% China. And so you would think with a trade war going on, EEM is going to struggle. But if we see it break out of that downtrend from a relative basis, we've already seen it establish a good base right there. And so if it breaks higher, again, that's another feather in the cap for the bulls. That would be more risk on into an emerging market environment. And a lot of it's a dollar story. You're watching the dollar get smoked this morning, and it's breaking down out of a somewhat of a messy bull flag on the weekly, bear flag on the weekly. And so I think that's just going to be an additional tailwind to any sort of international investing. And so we'll see where this one goes. It would obviously still have that level with that well-established resistance right there. But if EEM breaks higher, I think that's just another sign of bullish appetite.
And for EEM to break out higher, I'm thinking this dollar needs to continue to roll over. You want to throw that one up there, guys? Throw up that dollar index. There it is.
Yeah, that second bear flag is a little sloppy. We had that one candle that we broke up to like 102. I'm not a huge patterns guy, but I do pay attention to like especially like some of those tighter bear flag or bull flag formations. And so right now the path of least resistance is lower coming out of there. We had that false breakout going up to 110 at the beginning of the year. And now if we break lower and it looks like we're going to be confirming the breakout of that bear flag, that only signals, I would say, further outperformance for international indices.
What about American stocks? You think that weaker dollar in a weaker dollar environment, stocks as an asset class are doing better, but international is doing better than the US, and emerging markets are doing better than developed? Is that how you think it is?
Well, the weaker dollar is going to be gooder. It's going to be better for those multinational corporations that are translating their profits back into dollars, from a stronger currency. So it should benefit those types of companies. Maybe that's why we're still seeing some weakness out of the small caps. But those larger multinational corporations, if they're making profits abroad and then translating them back to dollars, that's going to be good for them, and with the weaker dollar. So we might see some continued performance from the large caps that are exposed internationally.
We saw. I mean, I guess. Excuse me. I guess in the back half of the 90s. You saw dollar strength with equities doing well, and you saw small caps underperforming the entire back half of the 1990s. In this case, you think the dollar weakness is going to benefit those large caps. So very different than the back half of the 90s then is what you're thinking, huh?
Potentially. A lot of people are making the 90s analogy right now, and I don't necessarily disagree.
Are they? What are they saying? What are they saying?
I've heard 94, 95 as far as the analog, and I mean that would be great. Obviously,
You know how many times I've heard about this night? I've heard about this 1995 analog because it was such a great year. I've heard about this 1995 analog probably as much as your Perma Bear newsletter writers that you referenced before are talking about 29 and 87, right?
Yeah, it syncs up well with the AI revolution versus the internet, and so
Oh yeah, that's true.
well, it remains to be seen. And
Yeah,
I've
I'll
also
take
heard
the
like
under, David. I got the under on that.
yeah, so we might be 98 then. You're more in the 98 camp, right? We had the
Oh yeah.
LTCM in 98 and the the rally up to 99. So maybe we're more in 98.
You know, I am such a, it's not different this time, it's different every time kind of guy. And, while all I know is that whenever you see one of these analogs, bet against it. That's usually a good way to go about it. And then also, while there might be similarities in this market compared to another one, whether you're looking at 2017 or 1995 or, 1944 or 1886, whatever it is, and there might be some similarities, but there most of it is very different, whether you're looking at the interest rate market or the forex market or the leadership groups or the bellwethers that are leading or who the laggards are. Like there might be some similarities, but the majority of it is very different every single time, right? That's what I've learned. And in, full disclosure, I've learned this lesson the hard way over the years. I was an analog guy 20 years ago. I was like, oh, this looks just like that one. Nope.
I couldn't agree more, and it's so easy to lean on that crutch of looking at an analog and saying, okay, we're here in this cycle, and that means that we have X amount of upside and or downside if you're a bear. And so it's super easy to say like it's going to happen exactly as it did in the past, and I don't agree with that. Every market's different, every environment's different, but there are some similarities that I think we can maybe draw upon from those experiences, especially when it comes to like the introduction of a new technology.
And speaking of an introduction for a new technology, talk about a segue. Let's talk about Ethereum. You brought in an Ethereum chart. By the way, I love well done, David. You bring in the small cap chart, you bring in emerging markets versus developed markets, Ethereum. You brought in the US dollar. We got a stock. Very, very well done. I must say, very nice collection of 5 charts covering a lot of ground with your charts. So I just want to let you know, big ups to David Rath here with this collection of 5 charts. Well done, sir.
Thank you. And I like to keep things clean on my charts too. I like, sometimes strip away the indicators, strip away everything but price, and don't even have it color coded. And so, the levels on Ethereum right now are very well defined. And so we saw a little bit of pullback this morning. I didn't look right before I got on, but I think we're around like 27.50 in Ethereum. So it's not uncommon or unnatural to see it pause right here at this level of resistance. And then if it breaks through that and sustains it, then the next target is in that 4,000 level. So I think that this is I talk to, or at least I read a lot of the hardcore crypto guys that are studying a lot more than price. I just look at the price. I don't necessarily understand all of the inner workings of the crypto world, but a lot of crypto people I follow are very bullish Ethereum. And so I will use that and keep that information in my back pocket.
I've noticed that, I follow, Ethereum is basically like the currency of the blockchain, right? Or at least it has been until now. So like the dollar, the US dollar is the denominator of, trade around the world, right? And so Ethereum serves that purpose on chain, or at least it has until now. And when I look at like NFTs, right? So I own some CryptoPunks. These are the blue chip NFTs. These are the bellwethers of that group. And I've noticed that the price is holding up really well, pushing up against new 52-week highs. And I think a lot of that has to do with the strength of Ethereum, right? That currency. And I think about, the market capitalization of Ethereum around 330 billion, 340 billion, wherever it is right about now, compared to that of Bitcoin pushing 2.2 trillion. So you're looking at 8-9x the value of Ethereum, and then total crypto market cap right around 3.3 trillion. So about 1/10 of the entire market capitalization of crypto is Ethereum. I think this cycle we could really eat into that. David, thinking about, you know nothing about crypto, I know nothing about crypto. I'm totally good. I'm totally good with that. And you know some things and I know some things, but in reality, we know nothing, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. But think about what the implications of Ethereum at 1 trillion are going to be for this overall market. What do you think that means for cryptocurrency stocks, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, the Bitcoin miners, things like that? What does that mean for the altcoins and things like Solana and Sui and Binance and all those other ones down the cap scale, and Peanut the squirrel and Pepe the frog and all those other characters, right? What does it mean for those? And then think about what it means for tech in general. I am not in the camp that cryptocurrencies are this alternative asset like a gold or like a bonds. I look at them as more tech stocks, just another industry group within tech. So if Ethereum's going to 1 trillion, these tech stocks are doing pretty damn well. That's how I see it. Do you think that's right?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And I love the chart that you had before about the Bitcoin dominance. I think we're at what, like 63% of market share.
Oh, you like that chart? You hear that, Strazza? Rath likes my chart. Throw that up slide 12 there. Throw that up slide 12. I must say, I really like that chart as well. Not all my charts are 12s, 12s out of 10, but this one I thought, really told a good story. Do you think, David, since you like my chart so much, I appreciate you, by the way. Do you think that we have seen the all-time high in Bitcoin dominance? Do you think so? Because I do.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would lean in the camp of because there's so many new protocols or whatever they are referred to that are being introduced in different ways of adding value to the blockchain. I know a lot of crypto guys are waiting around for that so-called alt season. And when that comes, I think that rotation is going to happen pretty quickly. And that's not necessarily bearish Bitcoin, because we can still see it go up and just cede the leadership to some other things like Ethereum or Solana or anything else down the cap chain. So, I mean, I think that it would be, as you point out here, it's a great analysis to say, like, this is probably a good spot for it to pause and pull back. And then we're going to watch those Ethereums and Solanas and everything play catch up, which would be, to your point, bullish for those cryptos, but also it would be a sign of risk appetite. So risk appetite usually bleeds into the tech stocks and things that are invested in these types of technologies.
Yeah, I don't think Bitcoin dominance coming off is going to be bad for Bitcoin. If anything, I think it'll be good for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin going up, and it just represents a smaller percentage of overall crypto market capitalization. I don't see how that would be a bad thing for Bitcoin at all.
Yeah, and you're looking at a very well-defined level at about 110 on Bitcoin. And if it goes above that, like I think that is finally a breakthrough of resistance. And there's really no more sellers left above that.
You brought, hard pivot here. You brought over an ETF, ICLN, the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF. Some of the worst words in the stock market, clean energy. This has been quite the disaster. All these people were convinced that losing money to help save the world is going to help save the world. And as it turns out, it was not. So all these investment bankers on Wall Street dumping all of these shitty clean energy ETFs into people who are bad at math, they made a fortune. Wall Street crushed it. And this is one of the few times where I say, good for Wall Street. Good for Wall Street. These idiots buying all your crap. Good for you. I don't always get Wall Street's back like that. But in this case, well done, Wall Street. Well done. Do you think that has now turned?
Well, I like to share this chart because it's a narrative destroyer, right? And if you look at the spots where I highlighted on the chart, those are lows in the market, but also it coincides with the changing of the guard in the White House. And one could argue that it is essentially the complete opposite of what the retail public might believe is good for an ETF like this. And the performance during the first Trump administration was fantastic. And then Biden literally top ticked the market with the inauguration in 21.
Literally the inauguration. Biden's
seeing
inauguration in 2021 was the top. And this bastard fell 65%.
Yeah, yeah. It was it's down 60+%. And now you're seeing it bottom with Trump being reelected. We're breaking above. I know this is a monthly chart, so we're not closed yet, but we're breaking above that level of resistance, and we're seeing a MACD cross in the bottom. So it would be so perfect if we saw a rally in clean energy with a new Trump administration.
Now, to be clear, this is a global clean energy index. So only 20% of the stocks are American stocks, which is really interesting. 13% China, believe it or not, 12% Brazil. You got Denmark, Spain, UK, 35% utilities, which is really interesting. Another 27% renewable electricity, whatever that means. Heavy electrical equipment. Then you got semiconductors at 8%. Really, really interesting breakdown, as a matter of fact. Larry Thompson, if you're out there listening, this sounds like a good one for a deep dive. Our friend Larry Thompson does great work there, diving into some of these ETFs. David, well done bringing this up. Why are you looking specifically at an international one versus an American one?
It's just the one that I track, and I'm not saying this is a call for me to put money to work in it. It's just I like the irony of the following the price action versus following the narrative, and showcasing exactly why we do what we do, because we can say we're, if we're narrative followers, and you would think that this, even though it's mostly international, a clean energy ETF is going to do well during a very green friendly US presidency. And it's been the exact opposite of that.
What's really interesting about this is that I don't recognize any of the stocks in this index, and as somebody who's been doing this very aggressively every single day for 22 years now, for me to look at an index and I don't recognize any of the names, like, now that's interesting. I mean, I know one, Enphase. Oh, First Solar, I know that one too. All right, so I know two of the names still, right? Like, that's saying a lot, right? Like, I guess I'm not trading foreign utilities that much, so I guess that's pretty fair. But man, a breakout back above those lows from late 23, early 24, to me sets the stage for, a monster ripper. And what you said, you're so spot on, David. People think clean energy, when you have liberals in the White House, that clean energy is going to do well. Clean energy got destroyed with the Biden administration. So weekend at Bernie's, not good for clean energy. And then you bring on the Trump, you'd think Texas, oil and gas, blah, blah, blah. Nope, the opposite. The clean energy is now working now that weekend at Bernie's has been put to bed. Pun intended, I suppose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you spot on. And then during the Biden administration, it was all the coal stocks that were doing so well. So what people think about politics and how that influences the market, oftentimes it's the opposite. And if you can find where that narrative is wrong and there's a divergence between what people believe and what is actually happening, there's a lot of money to be made there.
For sure.
Well done, David. Why don't we have David Rath on here more? Why don't we have him on more? This is ridiculous. We got to get you back soon. Very well done, sir.
This is time number 3, so I think I might be doing something okay. So maybe Steve just has a soft spot in his heart because I'm a Giants fan. And I do have to say this too. I saw Steve's background and he's got a Barry Sanders. If I could turn my camera around right now, I also have the exact same Barry Sanders signed poster in my room. So Steve and I are kindred spirits.
Dude, you guys are grown adults acting like children, and I love every second of it.
Child of the 90s. I will live in that decade for my life.
Dude, I was at my boy's house the other day. He's worth like tens of millions of dollars. He does very well for himself. He's about my age, and I'm in his basement, and he's got a Bo Jackson Raiders jersey signed and then a Bo Jackson Royals jersey signed. I'm like, this is fantastic. Well done. So I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Mr. David Rath, ladies and gentlemen, give him a follow on Twitter. All of his information is in our show notes. David, hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, JC. Take care.
You got it. All right. That was great. That was fantastic.
David's the man.
He is the man. We got to get up to Saratoga. It's nice up there. I like it.
I've never been actually, somehow.
It's like it's upstate New York. You know, it's
Yeah,
like north of Albany,
I
right?
know.
North of Albany or south of Albany? I think it's north of Albany.
That's up there.
No, it is up there.
Yeah. Kenny was
Saratoga
making.
Springs, officially north of Albany. It's halfway from Albany to Lake George. All right.
Kenny was saying on his segment about how it's just impossible to short in this market. I was talking with Herb yesterday. We were talking about some of the new nuclear names. I mean, Hims looks like it wants 100 from here.
You think
some of these
so?
names, yeah. And dude,
What
like
does Hims have to do with nuclear? Don't they sell penis pills?
no. I'm just talking about like these speculative stocks
Oh.
that. So I dug into the quantum stuff a little bit and just listened to people that are a lot smarter than me talk about it. And it seems like a lot of these companies are totally zeros over the long term. I don't know what Jensen Huang is so excited about. What all of his, recent comments, bullish quantum comments are about. That's strange because that's like a complete 180 from him. But
I'm
I think
worried.
over the
I'm
long
worried
run,
about Mr. Wang.
I think like the new nuclears are legit. There's totally something there, but like these quantum, I don't know. The space stuff too. A lot of these space names, I don't know. Now, that being said, you can't come out here and short them. I was listening to like Martin Shkreli argue with a guy on Twitter, and he totally won the debate. The other guy shouldn't have even been in the room, right? Like Martin Shkreli's like a quantum computer scientist, right?
Isn't he in prison?
He's just a crazy person, but he's very bright. So, and he's explaining like how there's really just nothing there. And the other guy just kind of laughing, like, dude, you're getting your face ripped off on your short. And that's where we're at. Like, that's the market environment we're at right now. Jim Chanos gave like a 30-minute interview on Bloomberg yesterday, talking about how he's long Bitcoin, short MicroStrategy. And everything he said is true. I agree with all of it. But how the fuck could you short MicroStrategy in this market?
Yeah.
Like, it's just really hard right now. It's not that you're wrong in your bearish thesis. It's that it's not the right time for your bearish thesis. So environment is so important. Some of these junky stocks that we're trading, JC, I'm positive will go away like this cycle, right? The next bear. But right now, they're some of the best stocks in the market. So act accordingly. I guess. And it's a confusing thing to learn when you're just beginning in markets. It's not always how it seems.
All right, I got a couple things I want to talk about here. Let's double click on what you just said on Mr. Chanos. I have a story for recess about Mr. Chanos that I'm going to share with you guys. I actually am a huge fan of his. Has been very inspiring to me over many years and continues to inspire my work. Taking the other side of you, Chanos. Taking the other side of you right now. I love you, buddy, but I think you're wrong. I think you could be right, but I think you're wrong. Throw up slide 2 here. Slide 2. This is a good one. This is exactly what Strazza is talking about. This is Jim Chanos' trade. Jim Chanos, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mr. Strazza. Chanos betting that this line goes down. Do I have that right?
Yep.
Right. So this is a ratio between the artist formerly known as MicroStrategy, now just Strategy. I like that. So short MicroStrategy, long Bitcoin, because ballpark MicroStrategy owns about 60 billion, 50, 60 billion in Bitcoin, but the market cap is twice that, and they don't have any other businesses that are material. So you're paying double what they own in Bitcoin to be in Strategy. So he's taking advantage of what he thinks is an arbitrage there, right? Do I have that right? How accurate am I?
Yeah, totally. No, well, he thinks MicroStrategy is just a house of cards too. It's a financial leverage situation over there.
And so if this breaks out above the May highs, Chanos gets squeezed out, right?
I don't know where he gets squeezed out. But I think I don't know. It's tough, man.
It's kind of messy. It's kind of messy, isn't it? It's just in range. It's been in a range for 6 months.
Billy Joel said it. Mr. Chanos, you may be right and we may be crazy, right?
Is that what Billy Joel said?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. I threw up this poll yesterday. I thought it was well timed. Slide 3 here. So you got the S&P 500 literally sitting right at 6,000 as we speak. I put up a poll with the
I
S&P
don't like
500
it.
near. You like this one?
I don't like it.
Why not? Tell me why.
Hmm?
Do you not like my poll, or do you not like the results?
The results.
Yeah. All right. 2/3 of people think the S&P goes to 7,000. Only a third think it goes to 5,000. You don't think that's generally like par for the course? Like that's about where sentiment lives normally?
I guess in the bull market, with markets approaching new all-time highs.
Yeah.
I think
Would you expect anything else? What were you expecting, out of curiosity?
it's not what I'm expecting. I'm open-minded. It is what it is. But I would just, as a bull, as somebody who's super, super long right now, it'd be nice if those numbers were inverted.
Yeah, but that's just not going to happen.
Fine.
You know that.
Listen, it's getting a little frothy out here. Over the
Phil
short term.
Blosky says that he picked 7,000. In case I was wondering, Phil. I was thinking to myself, how did Phil Blosky vote? I've been thinking about it all night. So I appreciate you clearing that up for me, buddy. Appreciate you.
We're about to put a trade in a very interest rate sensitive group, because the more I think about it, I don't think we have enough exposure to these interest rate sensitive areas. And I saw a report from Redfin today about how the percentage of homes that are selling above ask is at its lowest level since like the pandemic. And I'm thinking to myself, well, no kidding. Home builders are down 30%. I know.
Did you buy those bonds? Did you buy those bonds, Strazza?
I'm in the bonds. I'm in TLT calls. I got a hefty position in the TMF for a trade.
You didn't get in the
short-dated.
zeros? Those zeros are up
short-dated.
1.4% today.
I've done the zero DTE TLTs.
No, not
I have.
zero DTEs.
I have. I've done them. Though.
Yeah, it's a little aggressive. It's a little
Crazy.
aggressive. All right, what do you say we do a little recess? I got a story for you guys. Story time with JC.
SoFi was on our list. SoFi was on a short list. It was.
Big shout out Brian Harris. Polls are for strippers. Well done.
Right.
Well
He's
done.
right.
Don't disagree there.
You're right, bro.
Do you know that I met my wife because of Jim Chanos?
Never heard the story. Tell me.
Are you joking, or have you heard it? You have heard it.
I've heard it. Yeah. But it's a good story.
I met my wife because of Jim Chanos.
I'll pretend.
I was minding my own business. I went out. There was a Business Insider charity event in March of 2014. March the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. And I went out with one Joshua Morgan Brown, Josh Brown, Michael Batnick, and Joe Fahmy, and myself. Right,
nice.
4 of us go to this Business Insider charity event. They got all the journalists together. They partnered up in teams, and they each like bartended for an hour or something. And whichever team got the most tips got to choose the charity where all the tips go to, right? All the money they raised. So that was like the competition. So Lynette Lopez and Joe Weisenthal were teammates. So we went to support them and give them good tips so that they can decide. So little did I know, I walk in there just having a good time with my friends, no big deal. And I'm just minding my own business, true story. And a group of table full of girls just starts hollering at me, right? Minding my own business. And if you see my wife and you see me, you'll never believe that this is how I tell people that. They look at her and they look at me. They're like, no way that ever happened. But the truth is, she was hollering at me.
You're going with the story that Morgan hollered at you.
Yes, she did. Well, as it turns out, she told her friends or something. She's like, that's the kind of guy that I want to date, like that. And then her friends called me over, is what happened. But she doesn't admit that. But that's what happened. So anyway, so I go in there, I'm talking with them, kind of doing my thing. And that was it. And then later on, so then I found out Jim Chanos was coming. So I stayed late. Everybody left. And I just stayed there by myself waiting for Chanos because I wanted to meet Chanos, right? Like, this is a billionaire hedge fund manager. Like, totally stoked to meet Chanos. So he comes over. I meet him. It was great. It was fantastic. We're talking. I'm like, wow, that's cool. I just met Jim Chanos, right? This was 12 years ago or whatever. And so then I had a full drink at the time. So I walk over to the bar. This is before kids, so I had nowhere to go, no responsibility. So I'm sitting there at the bar by myself, just finishing my drink. No big deal, before taking a cab to go home from the East Village. And so the bartender comes up to me and, breaking my balls. She's like, take a shot, take a shot. I'm like, I'm not taking a shot. This fireball crap that the kids are drinking. So she gives me, then she's being a real pain in the ass. She gives me like a pint, like half a pint of fireball. And, you know, I have certain talents where I could drink a lot very quickly. Just one of those talents that I have that I don't really utilize often, but I did in my younger days. And
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, ladies. And I slam it. And they were like very impressed. And then, you know, just to stick it to them, I was like, all right, not only am I going to drink it, I'm going to show you my talents since you were breaking my balls. So then she's like, wow, that was very impressive. She's like, you should call Morgan. And I'm like, who's Morgan? She's like, you know, that pretty blonde you were talking to before? And I was like, oh, yeah, I should call Morgan. Right. So then hold on. So fast forward. So then we end up dating. We end up getting married, having kids, live happily ever after. But for a long time, I didn't realize why I was sitting there at the bar by myself. Because that just wasn't like me to just be sitting at a bar by myself. Like, that's not what I did.
You were waiting for Morgan.
No, so then hold on. So then years later, I'm having dinner with Chanos and, like, I don't know, Scott Wapner, Josh Brown. There were a few of us there, and we're sitting there, and I was sitting next to Chanos, and we're talking, and all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, oh my God, I met my wife because I was waiting to meet you. Like, I did it for years, and it was driving me crazy. I'm like, what was I doing at the bar by myself? And it finally hit me. The reason I was there was because I was there to meet Chanos, and I was just there to finish my drink, and that's how I got married to my wife. And they look at her, and they look at me, and they're like, zero chance she picked you up. But
Yeah,
that's the story.
It doesn't add up. So if I fact check this story with Morgan, I would get the same. Her version is the same as yours.
You would get more attitude and a little bit more color because I was actually, when they were hollering at me, I was actually about to go take a phone call. So I was like, oh, I'll be right back, ladies. So they thought I was just like a douchey Wall Street guy with not enough time to talk to a table of pretty girls.
I mean, it's like you can't even leave the house without getting solicited by women.
I mean, you know, 12 years ago, not these days. Not these days. Yeah.
So can you still chug Fireball? I want to, when we go golfing, we'll see.
No. I don't drink that shit, man. I don't think I've had any Fireball since then. Now that you mention it, I don't think I've ever drank Fireball since that moment.
Dude, all of those like sugary, that's gas station booze. Dude,
it's terrible, man. That's terrible. Don't drink that. All right, that's what I got. So there's a story of how I made my wife.
That's awesome, man. I'll confirm. It is a great story, though.
She'll be like, "Oh my God, that is not what happened."
No, I know. I can't wait to ask.
Yeah, that's gonna go. But that, I swear to God, I have no reason to make it up. That is the reason. I was minding my own business, and she was hollering.
So the best trade Jim Chanos ever made was for you.
You know, that time at dinner that I was with him, he recommended a book called "A World Lit Only by Fire." A World Lit Only by Fire. It is crazy. It's like all about, like, you know, the Roman Empire back in the day, and, like, you know, brothers sleeping with sisters, and like all kinds of weird incest. Like, it is wild. A World Lit Only by Fire. And he's the one who recommended that I read it. And I felt obligated to read it because Jim Chanos told me to read it. What am I going to not read it? It's aggressive.
You know, JC,
no, Phil, she does not sound like that. And then she tells me, she's like, I don't talk like that. That's not how I talk. So that's how, you know.
You're inspiring me with all of the you big book guy lately. You're inspiring me to read some books. It's been
the smartest, most successful people that I know read a lot, and the dumbest, least successful people I know never read at all. So, you know, like, it scares me to be one of those people that never read because I don't want to end up like them. And it inspires me that the most successful people read a lot. And I like reading. And not everything is about technical analysis, right? I read a lot about psychology and, like, you know, history and stuff like that. You know?
Reading makes you a better thinker, period. No matter what you're reading. And then that helps, you know, you become a better writer and other things too. Yeah, it's great. It's important.
I want to give a shout out to Speechify. Speechify, great app. It reads things to you. So, like, if you want to read something long, but you don't want to read it, which is me oftentimes, when they're like, JC, we need you to read this and approve it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but I have to. Speechify, and then you could choose who you want to read it to you. So if you want, like, Snoop Dogg to read, like, a long article about, you know,
don't want that.
You can. You Paris Hilton. I don't like Paris Hilton reading me things because then I start thinking about other things, and, you know, that's not what I'm trying to do. So my move is I go with Gwyneth Paltrow. So Gwyneth Paltrow is like a nice soothing voice.
Yeah. Nice.
You know, and, like, it doesn't remind me of, like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, like a Paris Hilton. You know,
Who's
so
the
like I
one-
go with Gwyneth Paltrow reading me things on Speechify. Highly recommend. It's like $120 a year. It's not bad.
Oh God, I forget her name now. The one from that movie, Her. Didn't they like steal her voice and get in trouble for it? The blonde.
Yeah.
the blonde
Yeah.
actress? She's like the AI
Johannesburg.
chick.
Johannesburg.
Yeah, that's not it.
Scarlett
Johansson.
Johannesburg.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. All right, I got to get to work. Any final words of wisdom, Mr. Strazza?
No, if anybody has any information, I'm in the market for a bed. Are these like temperature controlled Instagram beds? Are these legit?
Yes,
Right? They
Yes.
seem so cool. Do you have one?
I do.
Okay, we got
True
to talk.
story. I bought it maybe
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't taken it out of the box. So
Wait, what?
I know.
You don't use it?
No.
Yeah, that
Like
doesn't help me.
8 fat sleep or something like that.
Yeah, 8 Sleep. That's the
8
one I'm
Sleep.
looking at. You
Yeah, that's
have
the
one
one.
in a box?
Yeah,
Send
you want
to
it?
me. Yeah. A housewarming gift.
Yeah. Where are you moving to?
It's like North Naples. Technically, it's in Fort Myers.
You've always been kind of like an old man, so that fits. All right.
I think we'll do well up there. New adventure.
All
Excited.
right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday. We got a lot going on today. Markets are moving. We will catch you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Same bad time, same bad channel. We got Steve Strazza in the house. We got Alfonso, Mr. Chartmaster Flex. We got Izzy on the 1s and 2s. I am JC Parets signing off, and I will see you tomorrow.
Look for the cryptos. They're dipping and ripping.
Dipping and ripping. Dipping and ripping.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go